Hello, my name's Freya Dawson, and this is the third video in my free video series on joyful parenting. In this video, I'm going to talk to you about the two final tools that you need to complete your toolkit. 5 skills that will give you the answer to any family problem. In the previous 2 videos, I've introduced the first 3 skills. They were listening in presence, which is a tool for helping your children with their problems. Then I talked about questioning your thinking, which is a tool for gaining new perspectives on difficult situations and questioning thoughts that are bringing stress and conflict into your life. Thirdly, I talked about speaking from the heart, which is a skill that's based in you getting what you want and you communicating what you want to your children in a peaceful and kind way that makes it much easier for them to respond and give you what you want. Now, there are going to be situations where using all of those first 3 tools doesn't manage to resolve the problem. Sometimes problems are deep and entrenched and may have been going on for years. So this is where the 4th tool really comes into its own. The 4th tool is called creative problem solving, and it can be used to solve problems where there's been ongoing conflict or stress or struggle over an issue for some years, and I call this chronic problems. But it can also be used to solve an acute problem, something that arises and needs resolution fast, maybe even in the next few minutes. So it's really an all-purpose tool for resolving conflicts between you and your children. Now, it's a tool that relies on process. It's really all about how you go about finding the solutions rather than what the solutions will ultimately be. The essence of creative problem solving is the idea that there is always a solution to every problem that everyone can be happy with, or at least accept. That's the essence of it. The process is all about involving everybody who's concerned with a particular issue or problem in helping to find that solution and involving them as equal partners. Not you asserting your authority as parents, but asking your children to be involved as equals in finding a solution that everyone's happy with. And that means you're happy with it and they're happy with it, and you can move forward with a solution that you know is going to work. In my experience, the key to creative problem solving is setting the intention. It's setting an intention that you will find this solution that everyone is happy with. If you don't believe that, if you don't set that intention, it makes it so much harder to achieve. The other key is to have somebody who's willing to facilitate the process, to involve everyone so that everybody knows they've been heard, that what they're feeling and wanting is being heard and is being taken into account. Now, obviously, the easiest person to fulfill that role is yourself, is the parent who knows about the process of creative problem solving. And it's not a difficult role to fulfill. It requires that you make sure that people are being heard. It might be your partner or your child or yourself, but everybody needs to get heard in this process, to be part of the process and to know that they're part of the process. Creative problem solving involves bringing together all 3 of the skills that I've previously mentioned in these videos. So creative problem solving involves setting that intention to find the solution that everyone's happy with, and then listening to everybody who's involved in a problem to see what they're feeling and wanting about that particular situation. So listening in presence is an absolutely essential element of this process. The other element that's really important is a willingness to question your thinking. If you can get new perspectives on an issue by questioning your thinking, asking yourself, is what I'm believing about this situation absolutely true? And how is my belief about this situation making me feel? If you can get a new perspective on the situation, you can open up a whole new range of possibilities, a whole new range of potential solutions that you hadn't considered yet. It's all about opening up the box and opening things as wide as possible to find solutions that are really fresh and new and creative. It's also really important that you get to speak your part, that you get to speak from the heart and say what you want in relation to a particular situation. Say what you're feeling, say what you want, make a request. Make it assertively, make it repeatedly if you need to, but it's important that everybody gets heard and everybody's point of view is heard and taken seriously. It's also important in creative problem solving that nobody's point of view gets priority over anybody else's. You really have to rest on your intention that a solution will be found without using manipulation, threats, punishment, or yelling or any sort of pressure. If you actually open up the process to your children coming up with solutions, with other people outside of the problem offering solutions, then you're opening up to a much wider range of possible solutions, and you're likely to find the one that is creative and suits your family down to a T. Sometimes you really have to think out of the box for this process to work. But the beauty is, the further out of the box you get, the more solutions you have to choose from. Another aspect of creative problem solving that I rely on when I'm facilitating the process and setting my intention is that I know often the solutions come very intuitively. They don't come necessarily through thinking about it more or even talking about it more. Sometimes it really helps me to step back, center myself, connect with presence, and just trust that answers will come. Just trust that solutions will arrive, and just wait and see what happens. Wait and see what ideas arrive, what your children say. All sorts of things can occur that create a solution that you may never have imagined or couldn't see at the beginning. Let yourself be guided. Let your intuition serve this process. Creative problem solving takes some practice. It takes a fair bit of getting used to if your family has been used to you dictating or somebody insisting or people manipulating each other or all the other versions of family conflict that we all have experienced. So this is a new process. It takes time, it takes practice, but it works. It always works. It works 100% of the time. It's worth joining with your family to learn this process. Give it time, give yourself some practice, and trust that there is always a solution to every problem. Sometimes it takes some time. Sometimes it might take months. You might have to come back to the issue a few times and hear what people have to say, be guided about where to go. But trust me, there is always a solution to every family problem that everyone can be happy with or at least accept. The joy of creative problem solving is knowing and trusting that you will never have to go back to the old ways of relating. You will never have to threaten. You will never have to punish. You will never have to scream and yell at your children again, because you have a tool that will always find a solution. It's beautiful. The final skill that I want to share with you today is what I call playtime. Now, this is a very special skill that involves, funnily enough, playing with your child. Now, it's not just any sort of play. It's a special sort of play, and it really makes a difference in terms of building closeness and connection and really strengthening your relationship with your child. So what's playtime? Playtime is about finding time every day for one-on-one play with your child. Now, it doesn't have to be long. It can be quite a short time. Even 5 or 10 minutes is enough. But making time to play with each child one-on-one really makes a difference in their lives. Now, the key to playtime is that it's time where the child takes the lead. So you invite the child to play, or they invite you to play with them. And there's an express understanding that you will do what they want. You will play in a way that they want. You will take their lead and allow the play to develop in a way that suits the child, and just go along with it. Now, this may sound a little scary at first, and sometimes it can be very challenging, but the key is to know that it's a set period of time. You can even set a timer if you like. I did this for many years actually. I said, we're going to have playtime for the next 10 minutes or 15 minutes or half an hour, whatever it was. And my children understood that at the end of that time, that was it. Play was over. That style of play was over for the time being, and we get to move on to something else. So what happens when we invite children to take the lead in play? Well, often it can be just a form of roughhousing, wrestling on the bed, mucking around on the couch, just being silly together. And if the child is taking the lead, it's really lovely to play along and be the sort of weak person in the scenario. So let there be a little bit of a power reversal happening, where they get to be the strong one, the one who wins, the one who gets to push you around, and you get to be the silly, weak, vulnerable part of the play, and just make it silly, goofy, play along. So if you're wrestling with your child on the bed, let them wrestle you. Let them be the powerful one that pins you to the bed. Let them roll around and just get the laughter and giggles going. It really helps if you can be open to all sorts of suggestions, to let your child have their creative reign and come up with things that really work for them. Playtime can be a wonderful tool for children to actually work through some of their problems. So if they're feeling scared about something or feeling powerless, they can use playtime to actually play with those issues, and it can be very empowering. For example, one game I used to play with my children was getting fed food that I didn't like. So my child would pretend to feed me things that they didn't like eating, and watch while I played up my reaction to having to eat those foods. So for example, they would pretend to feed me broccoli, or they would pretend to feed me mashed carrots, or they would pretend to feed me something else that they didn't really like. And I would pretend to be horrified and to resist and to yell and carry on and just be really silly. The whole purpose is to just make light of the whole situation, ham it up, play around with the issue of what your child is eating, and see the tension just dissipate and disappear. If you put all the 5 skills together that I've talked about in these videos, what you'll have is a toolkit that you can absolutely rely on to resolve any sort of stress or conflict in your relationship with your children. You can move forward with absolute confidence that you have the tools, that you have the skills to deal with any family problem. These skills can completely transform your relationship with your children. What you will find as you practice these skills is that there's a deepening sense of trust and respect, playfulness and joy that comes into your relationship with your children. If you'd like to go deeper into these skills for joyful parenting, I have something very special to offer you. I'm bringing out my book, Joyful Parenting, as an ebook, and for a limited amount of time, I'm going to be giving away this book free to anyone who wants it. I have so much confidence that these 5 skills can transform your life, and I want to share it as widely as possible. I want this information to be available to every parent, and that's why I'm choosing to give my book away for free for a limited time. I really hope that you will take the opportunity to read this book and share it with as many friends and family as you can. You will receive an email letting you know when this free offer will be available. So watch your inboxes. It's only going to be for a couple of days. I hope you've enjoyed this video series on joyful parenting. I hope it's been really helpful for you, and I hope that it will bring more joy and fun into your life with your children. Thank you. Bye.